You might have heard of their names.
My name's Corey Nathan.
My name is Simone Leeper. You might find their voices familiar.
Our idea is to provide and to share our original analysis on elections, on politics, and more broadly about strengthening democracy in an audio format so that we can engage with the general public, also with members of the media.
8 years and 800 some episodes later, here we are.
So who are the people behind your favorite podcast? Welcome to Meet the Host, a Q&A series that features the voices shaping our democratic discourse. Join us as we sit down with the brilliant hosts from the Democracy Group Network and get to know behind-the-scenes anecdotes of your favorite shows. Welcome to Meet the Host. I'm Jessie Wen. In this episode, we feature a conversation with Kelly Sechrist, Senior Director of Advancement for the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center and host and co-producer of RCV Clips. RCV Clips is the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center's monthly podcast and my go-to guide for all things ranked choice voting. From drafting legislation to election certification, RCV Clips provides the tools to help jurisdictions implement ranked choice voting to the best of their ability.
We work on the implementation side of a voting method called ranked choice voting. So we are a 501c3 nonpartisan nonprofit. So we don't do any advocacy. We're not trying to get places to adopt this type of voting, but we help jurisdictions who plan to adopt or who have already adopted ranked choice voting to be able to implement it well. And that's really our mission. Our mission is very simple. We help make ranked choice voting elections better.
So what exactly is ranked choice voting?
So in the U.S., we do something typically called plurality voting. That means you go to the polls, you vote for your person, and the person with the biggest number of votes wins. Yeah. But what happens in a plurality election, when you have 3 people running or 4 people running or 5 people running, you can actually elect someone with 25% of the vote or 30% of the vote. And that leaves, 75% or 70% of a jurisdiction who didn't really have any say in electing that person. So they're only really representative of the beliefs of 25% of the jurisdiction. So ranked choice voting in the single winner format, which when I say single winner, what I mean is, if you're electing a mayor, a president, a county commissioner in a district, a school board member in a district, that, what this does is it allows the voters to get to a consensus candidate. And what I mean by that is this. So when you go to the polls, essentially you'll have a ballot that has a ranking system on it. It'll list all the candidates, it'll list rankings, and you get to choose and rank your first, second, third, fourth, however many choices you're allowed to rank.
And if one of those candidates receives 50% plus 1 vote, they're declared the winner, just like in a plurality contest. If that doesn't happen, the person with the lowest number of votes is eliminated, and for people who voted for that person, their votes move to their next choice until you get a candidate who wins with 50% plus 1 vote. When I first read about ranked choice voting, I was honestly a little bit confused. So Kelly used an ice cream analogy to help break it down.
It's just like when I go to the grocery store, right? My favorite ice cream in the world is Ben & Jerry's Tenaido. That's my very favorite. But apparently everybody in Wilmington, North Carolina, where I live, also loves Ben & Jerry's Tenaido ice cream. So my grocery store is always out of it. So then I'm like, okay, I can do my next choice. I like half-baked. And then, oh gosh, they're out of half-baked this week. Well, what about half-baked peanut butter? And then, they didn't have my third choice. So I'm still okay with Cherry Garcia. So essentially you're doing the same thing with your candidates. And what that means is people, at least half the public, half of the jurisdiction who voted, are either really love, like, or can be okay with the candidate who's elected.
Compared to our widely used voting system, ranked choice voting is an essential process in our democracy and a voting method that has been used for major elections in the U.S. and other countries for over a century. As of the 2022 elections, ranked choice voting has been adopted in 62 jurisdictions, including the states of Maine and Alaska for presidential elections, and Nevada at the state and federal levels.
So ranked choice voting really gives us the opportunity to let voters or help voters have their voices heard more effectively. But as far as the work that we do in election administration, as we all know, election officials and elections have been really under fire over the last, 6 or 8 or 10 years. And people are worried about the security of our elections. They're worried about misinformation. They're worried about, are the elections being counted the right way? And so we come in and we help to help the jurisdictions establish the procedures and processes they need within their state laws to implement it well and implement it securely. So that's critically important because we know that the only way voters' voices are really heard is through safe elections and through elections that are counted appropriately. So we really take that to heart, and we know that to maintain our democracy and to keep a democracy healthy, you have to be able to make sure your elections run well.
With 66 podcasts spanning almost 7 years, RCV Clips has become an informative and educational tool that helps the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center not only get the word out about this minority voting method, but also equips listeners with the basics of ranked choice voting and opens discussions on politics across states.
Frankly, we're election nerds, which we love. We like to be election nerds. But what we do is we tell some stories around that. And that helps people outside of the RCV world and inside the RCV world better understand our work and better understand ranked choice voting as a whole. So, like I said, I told you we talked to Tom Hicks. We have talked to election officials who did some really innovative auditing on a ranked choice voting election this year so far too. We've talked a lot with people about resources that we have so that folks really know and understand how we can help them and where we sort of fit into political discourse, which we are neutral. Here's another fun little inside thing that that someone said to us the other day. They said, y'all are kind of like ranked choice voting therapists. You just make it seem like it's all going to be okay. And that's truly what we do. And that's truly what we want to be there for. We want to be a neutral source and trusted source where, folks that are passing the laws, folks that are trying to get laws passed, and folks that are actually boots on the ground implementing the laws can get the help they need.
To learn more about ranked choice voting and the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center, visit rcvresources.org. And you can read the full Q&A with Kelly Sechrist on our website. You can find the link in the show notes. I'm Jessie Wen. Thank you for listening.